Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Homespun Yak. How's it going, Mr. Hatley?
It's Monday.
That it is.
Well, I mean Tuesday. Sorry.
Tuesday for anyone listening to this.
Yeah. Yep, Monday, and it was a busy day today, but we're here now, and what a wild weekend in sports it's been.
Has it?
Well, maybe not wild. I mean, one aspect was wild, but not for good reasons. But one, the Euro Cup started, and then two,
Right.
the NBA playoffs have continued to be very entertaining.
For
And
sure.
I actually have a baseball stat.
Oh, I don't know if I'm not that interested. You can save it.
It's just one quick line because I hate baseball as well. But yesterday, NC State beat number one Arkansas at Arkansas
Damn.
to move on to the Final Four of
Of baseball.
baseball, I
Wow.
guess.
That's
Yeah,
that's
State
huge.
was not ranked, so
Damn.
yeah,
So they're it's like the cardiac pack again.
basically, yeah,
Wow.
just for a sport I don't follow, but we'll still support the pack when they do well
Right.
in
Right.
any sport.
Dude, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently their pitcher is probably guaranteed to be the number one pick in the MLB. So yeah, shout out to State.
Shout out to State.
Shout out to baseball.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
I won't go that far. Yeah, I've been. I I contacted you about like getting access to Euro Cup stuff because my mom was interested in watching the
Hmm.
Euro Cup, and then you. I think. Oh yeah, because France and Germany play tomorrow, right? Or
Yep.
Wednesday. One of those two. Yeah. So
Tomorrow.
right. So I finally got access, so I'm gonna be trying to follow along with the Euro Cup as much as I can. I saw that
Very good.
England has won already once. I forgot who they played already.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. So basically, after tomorrow, every country will have played their first game.
okay,
And then starting Wednesday, it's the second games of the teams that played sort of the first day or two. But yeah, England got a win on Sunday against Croatia, the team that knocked them out of the last World Cup. Uh, and they're definitely the better side, more deserving of a win. Probably could have scored a few more, but I imagine there's a lot of nerves playing in London. First game, expectations are incredibly high. There's a lot of pressure.
right.
I don't think they started their best players. So I think they can still do a lot better, but it was their ideal start because they play Scotland this Friday for their second game.
Mm.
And Scotland's also in their group and historical rivals, and they lost today, Scotland, 2-0 to the Czech Republic. So, and in that game was the goal of the tournament already.
Really?
Guy shot from midfield basically,
Oh, I think I saw.
and the
I didn't
goalie
see it,
fell
but
back into the goal because he just caught him that he just saw that the goalie was slightly out of position and just went for it, and it was perfect. Yeah, it
that's
was.
incredible.
It'll definitely be the goal of the tournament. I don't foresee a better goal than that. Um, but yeah, tomorrow's probably the most anticipated game one, France and Germany, and then they're in the afternoon, and Portugal, Hungary are in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be curious how that turns out. Um, I don't really care who wins between France and Germany. I just hope that Portugal doesn't move on, but I guess it's kind of a pipe dream. I don't know. Well,
Well, you never
only
know. I mean, it's that group especially. You just really don't know.
it's
It'll
two
be,
teams, right? That move on.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it'll. You would put a lot of money that it would be one of the three: France, Germany, and Portugal
Hmm.
to advance. So I don't know. I mean, if Germany or if Portugal beats the shit out of Hungary, which they should, and then like say France and Germany draw, then that makes things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I saw. I guess was it Belgium? I was like that one dude's name, Lukaku.
Lukaku,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember him from the I guess the World Cup. Was it the World Cup?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been on Belgium for a while,
Yeah.
like as a pretty key player. And yeah, a lot of people think Belgium could do it. I've thought that they could do it for the past three big tournaments, and now they're kind of getting older. So this might be one of the last chances to take advantage of that squad.
Right.
But they looked really good so far.
Yeah. 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 So I haven't actually had much of a chance to watch, but um, I'll it'll be easy for me to watch in lab. So as they're kind of during the day,
Hmm.
I'll probably end up watching tomorrow. France.
Yeah.
Well, actually, both games probably. So should be fun. I'll it'll
Yeah.
be nice to get back into that atmosphere.
Yeah. And I think probably the most like shocking, scary news of the tournament was the collapse of Christian Eriksen. I'm sure you heard about this.
I heard it
You
through my
seen this?
mom, but like I didn't look into it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
So
don't know if he lived or what.
yeah. So Denmark was playing Finland in Copenhagen, and
Hmm.
Christian Eriksen is, well, he's not their captain, but I would say he's probably their best player. He's a midfield player. He's played for Tottenham in London. Now he plays for Inter Milan. So plays played for big clubs, scored big goals, and just a really quality midfielder. And I've watched him for many years because he's played in the top leagues, and he was obviously starting against Finland on Saturday morning. And I was watching it like I had to do something so I couldn't finish it. But like when I was about to leave, they were taking a throw in, and Christian Eriksen was running over to receive the ball from the throw in, and he starts to stumble and then just collapses onto the ground,
Wow.
lifeless. And
Damn. That's
at
scary.
and first seeing that, you're like, you just think like, oh, is he like, did he like dive or like did somebody foul him? But it
Oh,
was like,
dive. I thought you said die.
no, no. Well, that's, I mean, that's like the second thing that goes through your mind
Right.
because there's really no one around him, and both, like you could see players from both teams are just like both confused, like what's going on, and then they noticed like, oh, this is like extremely serious within seconds, and then like the captain runs over and tries to open his airways, and then the medics run out and start doing chest compressions on him, and like the whole thing is like filmed, like they don't cut away to the studio at any point, and the Danish players like lock arms and form like a circle around him while they're doing all that stuff just because it's like a private, I mean, it's in front of the whole world, it's like you just don't know how to react. And obviously you can't turn away like as watching it because you're like, what is happening, like is he okay, and so nobody really knew for like an hour or so
Yeah.
after, until like this picture came out of when he was on a stretcher leaving the stadium. There was a picture taken and like zoomed in, and he had his hand on his head like with his
Uh,
eyes open, so it was
yeah.
like he's alive at least, and they got him to the hospital, but it was the medic that came out and started doing because he said he felt his pulse and it was like low but not crazy low, and then it dropped like dramatically within seconds, and then he started doing that, and then they got whatever else they needed on the field and got him to the hospital, and he's like stable and he's mentally fine now, and they ended up finishing the game like later that evening, and Finland went on to score a goal and win. But like if you look at the highlights, like the Danish players are just like they're not there mentally, and yeah, it just sucks for obviously Christian Eriksen and the whole Danish team. But it's just like, yeah, it was just like one of those things that like just shook me up the whole day, just because it was so, you just never expect that, and especially for a really famous player like that, you just like, man, in top athletic shape. And
Yeah, now I'm
I
really
mean, I guess it
curious.
happens. Yeah, I guess it happens. But it was, yeah, I think it was ruled as like cardiac arrest is what happened in the moment.
Yeah. Um, well, apparently he sent out a video link to his teammates. Remained stable after collapsing. Still stable since he suffered cardiac arrest and collapsed. That it just kind of like raises questions for me of like what caused it, right? Like, was it a
Oh,
genetic
yeah.
thing that's just never been found, or uh, I don't know, something like just the something about that moment got to him. I don't know. It's pretty remarkable, though. I'd be really curious.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was just such a shocking thing,
Like,
just
yeah,
like of you're in Denmark as well. And it's just like, man, it's game one of the Euros, and it's like such a joyful occasion that quickly can turn into just true horror and uncertainty about human life. And it just, yeah, it just was like, man, it's just, you just never know. Cause like that's just a top athlete, 29 years old. Like, you just don't know. And luck, I'm just glad he's okay. But just in hindsight, it was just, you just wonder if play, it's on ESPN and they like showed the whole thing, and I, like at one point, you understand because as a viewer you didn't turn away because you're just like, man, what is happening? But on the other side, like, I just don't know that they should have kept filming that because it's just such an intimate and like scary private moment. I don't know, it just felt weird in retrospect because they were like filming his wife who just had a kid, and then like she's hysterical and the players are crying, and it just felt way too invasive at that point. But
hmm.
I don't know, just just weird looking back.
Do they usually continue filming? Like, if there are disasters on the
I don't
field, do
know,
you remember?
I can't remember another incident that I've seen that was like that. But I'm
Hmm.
sure they would, I'm sure they do and have. But yeah, I don't know, it just gets into a bigger question of what should you do in that situation. And I'm not saying that I would have been like, cut the tape if I was like in charge, but just looking back, you're like, damn, that was it's kind of messed up. But
Yeah, yeah. I wonder who. Yeah, I wonder what kind of pressures are there because I don't know if maybe in soccer they have anything that they can cut to really. Because
well,
usually it's.
every station has like the pundits at halftime, like
Hmm.
Balak and all those guys. They could just cut to them and just have them talk. But I mean, and that's what a lot of stations around the world did, was
Uh,
just like go back to whatever studio
Back
in
to you,
that
George.
country.
And the
Yeah.
guy's like mid sandwich, like, oh fuck. Well,
But it's
our
like,
hearts and feelings.
exactly. It's just
Yeah.
that, nothing but that. And like, because it's so uncertain,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm just, the whole point is that he's fine, which is great because if he had died, you just wonder, like, what are we doing? Like, is the tournament going to get canceled? Should it get canceled? Like,
I cannot imagine that would happen.
No.
There's too much money involved.
Yeah. Yeah. It just would have been more of it would have been so sad to just like, it would have been like the most depressing Euro Cup of all time.
Yeah, and Denmark would
Yeah.
not be very interested in continuing, I imagine.
No, they probably wouldn't have. They probably would have dropped out. But yeah, Lukaku when he scored, uh, he did a tribute to him because they've been longtime teammates and good friends. So that was good to see that too. But yeah, it's nothing short of excitement so far in every way.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping to see some notable matchups, but I didn't. It didn't seem like there were any like big countries playing against one another until tomorrow, of course.
Mm-hmm.
France and Germany.
Yeah, once we get to the knockout round, I think it'll be
That's going to be intense. Yeah.
way intense. Yeah.
Jets. On the other
Yeah.
hand, there's also NBA fun to be had. Actually, curious on your take on this. Did you see the Jokic
Oh, yeah, I watched it live.
ejection? Did you?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that? Do you think it was one? Was it flagrant one or two, or was it a flagrant foul in general? And then on top of that, like, do you think that he should have been ejected?
I don't think he should have been ejected, but clearly something had happened just before where like he was incredibly frustrated that you could tell something went wrong. I can't remember what happened. Like he didn't get a call or
Right.
something like that. And clearly out of frustration and desperation, he's just going to try to smack the ball, which he does successfully hit it, but his forearm catches the guy in the nose and just
Right.
like he does a wind up and just smash, and like that's like the last guy you want to get hit by like that.
Yeah.
Um, so just for the pure reckless, like when I first saw it live, I was like, Jesus, that is like a retaliatory,
Mm-hmm.
just emotional reaction, like anger and frustration. And yes, he got the ball, like his hand got all ball and like knocked it out of his hand. But I think just because of how he initially reacted, I would have been fine with a technical. I don't think he should have maybe been, I don't think he should have been thrown out of the game, just like straight up ejected.
Yeah.
Because like it's the playoffs, like literally they can't win it without him. And, they're, I don't know. I mean, it was just over at that point if you throw him out.
Yeah. Yeah. And him winning the MVP just like a couple
Yeah.
days earlier. And all right, he'll get ejected. First
Yep.
time in 3 years. Yeah.
So I don't
But the
know.
Denver Nuggets got swept 4-0. I guess that was probably going to happen just because they were missing Murray that
Hmm.
entire time. But even with Murray, I don't know if they could have beaten the Suns. The Suns seem to be really on a roll
Yeah,
at the
I think they've
moment.
won what like 9 in a row or something, or
Yeah,
6 or 7.
yeah, something like that.
And then Chris Paul, like I just could not believe his performance last night. It was truly unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
he
think
had
he
what, like
hit
37 or 36 or something
he
like that?
hit like 9 shots in a row, like jumpers.
Yeah,
And he would just get to the same spot. They would just let him get to the same spot, and he kept making that shot. And Devin Booker had like, I don't know, probably 40 points or something like that. And when those two guys are hot, it's just hard to stop them. And then they can get Aiton involved, and their perimeter guys. So that's going to be interesting to see who they play between the Clippers and the Jazz.
Who do you
which
think
they
would be
play
the
tonight.
Who do you think would be the bigger test?
Probably the Jazz.
Probably the Jazz.
Jazz, but yeah, I don't know. I think just I don't know, just having that inside presence, I feel like helps the Jazz a little bit more. I don't know why. I mean, I know Kawhi is an incredible defender, so he might be able to guard Devin Booker well, but I don't know. I don't think he would guard Chris Paul.
No. No. Although Rondo does not like Chris Paul at all. So
A lot of players don't.
yeah, yeah. So I think they're
Yeah,
one.
maybe he would play more in that series.
I think he would. Yeah, for sure. Um, that'd be tough. That'd be tough. I think I'm inclined to agree, though. I think that the Jazz would probably be harder. The Clippers just seem. I don't know. Everybody just keeps saying like, "Oh, the Clippers." I don't know. People could just keep saying the Clippers are going to win. Clippers are going to win, and then they go out there and they just get destroyed, and then they get destroyed again, and then people are like, "Oh, they're in trouble," but then they end up winning a game. Like they barely eke out these series. It's just like
I
even going
know.
back to last year when they played Denver. It was just it. They're so flat. They're like this is a great way I think about it. It's like putting down your foot on a gas pedal and you want the car to accelerate. Like cars that are fast or good will accelerate, and like teams that are really good will just perform every single night. The
Hmm.
Clippers seem like they accelerate up to a point and then they just plateau, and it's like the RPMs never increase beyond that point. And you wonder why, because they have so much talent on their team. And then like you have random nights where you put down the gas accelerator pedal and it accelerates all the way, and they do extremely well. Like their last game, right,
Hmm.
against the Jazz, where they really did like played extremely well. I just don't
Yeah.
get it. Like I have no faith in them. I have no faith in Paul
No.
George. I have no faith in Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I feel
No
like
one on their
every
team.
if they win a series, like it has to go to game 7 for them to
Yeah,
win.
which has got to be exhausting.
I
Like
know. Hey, the deeper you do that, the less likely you are to be, I don't know, to win, to be at your best.
it doesn't feel. I think what annoys me is the fact that they are not the underdog. Like they're supposed to be like one of the best teams, and they constantly go to these game sevens. It just makes me think like, man, these guys are just so weak. Like they just don't. They can't just pluck up the motivation to like sweep a
Get it
team or
together.
get game
Yeah.
five or something along those lines. Yeah, but if it were like an underdog, like a seven seed or something like that, winning, these 7 game
Right.
series, I'd be like,
Dramatic.
oh yeah, fuck yeah, awesome,
Right.
go for it. Like you guys are really fighting,
Yeah.
tooth and nail for this.
And you would think that would be like the Suns coming into this year. That would be like that underdog team that would struggle and maybe get by, but they've just
Maybe,
swept the Nuggets.
maybe I don't know. Didn't the Suns have the second best record in the West?
Oh yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah.
think I don't really know what to make of the Suns. Like this is my first time I'm actually paying attention to them, so I
Hmm.
don't really know what to make of them. But I mean, so far obviously it's been really impressive. I'm just hoping that Chris Paul can stay healthy with his
Yeah.
hamstrings, that he doesn't bow, because I think that they are. If anything goes wrong with Aiton, Booker, or Paul, they're out. I mean, they're
Oh
they're going
yeah.
to get crushed.
Yep. Speaking of things going wrong with a key player or players, now looks like the Nets are without uh,
Oh yeah,
Kyrie and James,
yeah.
and the Bucks look to now be the favorites.
I'm so glad I'm not caught up in that anymore. I really am, because I still have no faith that the Bucks will win. I feel like that's how little faith I have in the Bucks. And it's also just like this level of like it feels like a cheap victory for
Hmm.
if the Bucks, let's say the Bucks win the series. If I were a Bucks fan, I'd just be like, who cares? Like we beat a team that had two of its superstar players out. It
Hmm.
feels so empty. And then like the next round we'd probably play the 76ers and probably get
Just get
destroyed. Yeah,
demolished.
exactly. Like there's just nothing. And even if we played the
We
76ers,
deserve to be here.
yeah, and Embiid ends up like getting injured or something.
Yeah.
It just feels like
Yeah.
that's the only way the Bucks would be able to move on, because there's nothing about the Bucks that offers me any sort of like, wow, they are actually a legit team and can like totally win.
I know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like a random Suns versus 76ers final.
That would be fun, yeah. Probably where we're headed. Unless, I mean, unless KD somehow pulls it out of his ass and just like
And then they can get
powers
Harden
through.
back.
Yeah, and then get Harden back, exactly. And I imagine for the finals, they probably have Kyrie. So
Hmm.
if that's the case,
Yeah.
I mean, like that.
Yeah, if they can get out of this series alive, I think, yeah, they're definitely favorites to go on and play the 76ers. Or
Yeah,
no, play, well, yeah, in the semis,
yeah,
I
right.
guess is what it would be.
Yeah, they would play 76ers. And I really, really like the Nets are just so much better than the Bucks. They're just so much better. Like Giannis, I don't give a shit what Giannis does, except he needs to start shooting jumpers. He needs to learn how to shoot jumpers. We've
I
been
know.
like analysts, everybody's been saying this for two
Free
years
throws,
now.
jumpers.
Exactly. Free throws and jumpers. Just do that. Stop everything else. Don't do anything else other than those things, Giannis. Like,
Yeah.
damn, dude. Like,
Imagine how he'd win MVP every year
yeah.
if like he was able to just have an outside jumper, not even three necessarily, just like top of the key,
Yep.
consistent with that, better free throws, and then he's got all the other stuff he currently has.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, well, we basically have to give him the MVP. Because I mean, Joel Embiid and Jokic are as tall as him, and they
Yep.
can shoot threes.
Yep. Exactly. So it
So
doesn't make any sense. I don't know what it is with him. He just every year he just doesn't improve in those key categories. You realize you're not going to win a championship unless you improve in those areas. So every year it's just going to get up. Like they're always going to get through the first round, and then there's a second round. They just get destroyed in the second round every time. It doesn't matter
yeah,
what the team is. Like if Kyrie was there, they would have like completely blown out the Bucks. Like it would have been like 5 game series. That's what it would have
hmm
been.
yep, yeah, and it just sucks that they're not at their full strength because it's just so much more entertaining. But I just don't understand. I don't know. I feel like Giannis has the mentality of like I'm gonna just win how I want to win. Basically, I don't
Yeah,
need to change how I'm playing
yeah,
because I've won MVP twice. Everybody else should play better
yeah,
or differently.
yeah. And his team just isn't quite good enough. Middleton is good. I mean, the team itself is good. It's just like it's not championship good. That's that's what it comes down to.
Hmm.
So, I don't even think the 76ers are championship good. I think they can get to the championship, but I don't think they can win it. Okay, let me ask you this. If 76ers and Suns play, who do you think wins?
Mm, if everybody's like 100% healthy during the whole thing, like, oh god, I just think that Embiid would really do some damage
I
in that
agree.
series. I think they would. I think it would be 6 to 7 games, but I would. put money on the Sixers because Ben Simmons should have probably won the Defensive Player of the Year. And he's always in the running anyway. So he can take one of those two guys, whoever's like really hot. And you're never going to really fully stop Devin Booker. But if you limit him to like 25 points, like you did a pretty damn good job. Because that dude is truly unbelievable. Like I could see him being MVP in the next year or two if he continues playing like this, and if they all stay together at the Suns next year. Because Chris Paul just makes everybody better too.
Yeah, for sure.
Case in point, their center.
Yep. So I would also go 76ers, contrary to my original point, but I think that if they played anyone else in the West, like one of the higher quality teams that just didn't end up making it, if that's like the Clippers or the Lakers or, teams that things have been kind of weird this year. So like, those teams have kind of fallen off or, I think if they played either one of those two teams, I think the 76ers would lose. It's like, to me, it's like the Nets would beat everyone. Then I've got like the Lakers and Clippers, even though I have so little faith in the Clippers. Like it would feel like they're falling into their victories. Like they're not actually really winning it with any sort of like gusto. And then you've got this other tier of like 76ers, Suns, Bucks, like teams that just don't feel. Actually, I would even put the Bucks even below that tier. Like 76ers and Suns, Utah Jazz, that are in this like third category, and they can maybe get to the championship, but they're like, if they play a real quality team, if they play anyone in the first or second tier of teams, they're going to get like destroyed. That's what it feels like to me. So I don't know. But I think you're right. Against the Suns specifically, I think the 76ers would win just because Embiid would drop like 40 to 50 points a night. And because Ayton's so inexperienced. And like he was even having trouble in the first series. I forgot who they played, the Suns. Oh, Lakers. When who is their big man?
Marc Gasol or
no, it wasn't Marc Gasol. Although I know that's one of their big men. Oh my God. Anthony Davis. Damn.
Okay, I was like, I thought you were talking about like a backup when he was injured or something. So I didn't even think to say his name.
No, yeah. Anthony Davis even like just like when he had his good games, he just completely demolished Ayton. Like it wasn't even close. And so I feel like Ayton is really inexperienced. Like he's a good player, no doubt, but like he's really inexperienced. So I still feel like Embiid would absolutely just trash him, just destroy him. And then, like you said, Simmons on probably Booker, and then I don't know who would guard Chris Paul, but I think it would. Oh, what is it? Tobias Harris that they have? He plays. Yeah. So Simmons is point guard, right? And then Tobias Harris is like shooting guard or something like that, or small forward. Yeah. I think just overall they would just slightly lean towards the 76ers. They just have more firepower. They have more diversity in their team with Embiid there.
Yeah, I think they've played together a little bit longer than everybody has at the Suns, so that helps
and
too.
They've got Doc as their coach.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a lot in their favor if they can keep Embiid healthy.
Yeah, that's a big if.
Yeah, he's pretty fragile. Knees, and
he falls all over the place too.
I know. Yeah, so they play the Hawks tonight.
Yeah.
I think, could they win it tonight, or is it 2-1?
I think it's 2-1. Yeah. I think it's 2-1. I think the 76ers will win that series. I think last week, I said the Hawks were going to win it or something along those lines. I don't know. Whatever. I changed my mind.
A man grows.
A man grows indeed. Yeah. Have you? This is completely off topic. Have you ever stopped consuming caffeine for like a set amount of time, like let's say a week?
Mm, never been tried. But I try to just do 1 cup a day of coffee.
Okay.
Like just 1 cup in the morning. I mean, that's not cutting it out, but it's not like
Sure. Yeah.
extreme intake
No.
throughout the day.
No.
But still, it would be a huge change for me,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine so. So I'm cutting back my caffeine to about I don't know, like a quarter. So I'm having 1 cup of coffee in the morning.
Mhm.
Um, just for a week, just to resensitize myself. That's really the only reason why. But it's pretty dramatic difference. You know,
Yeah.
you just feel so lethargic. You feel so
Oh, yeah.
tired and just
Yeah, but I feel like with anything, it's good to reset, hit the reset button. I mean, certainly with alcohol,
oh yeah,
that's good to do. I've done that before where it's like, go the whole month or, a week or something like that. And just not that I've ever been like, oh my God, like I'm drinking every night. I need to
right.
stop. It's just more experimental. And, you have other people doing it sort of like in solidarity because they do like no drink November or, yeah, no, sober October, or they do like dry January, stuff like that, where you can make it like a challenge or, you're competing with people and, it's like you can call them at 2 in the morning when you're having withdrawals and they can talk you off the ledge and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I agree. I think that every once in a while, just kind of taking a step back. I mean, it's true of anything, right? Like alcohol or caffeine. Like you become less and less sensitive to it, so you end up having to
mhm.
consume more of it, and then that's where you kind of go down this path. I found myself. I always had a limit for like I had a limit, a hard limit that I would never pass when it came to caffeine.
Mhm.
So once I hit that limit and I wasn't feeling much from the caffeine anymore, that's when I had this indication of like, okay, I gotta I gotta take several steps back and kind of build my way back up. So anyway, that's what I'm doing this week. Just
Mhm.
cutting way back on caffeine and gonna
And
have to see.
would any of that caffeine come in the form of a pre-workout typically for you, or is it mostly coffee and
Yeah, I haven't had pre-workout in years now. So no, I have coffee and then I'll have a Bang energy drink
mhm.
every once in a while as well.
You stopped NOS?
Nas was my go-to, and it's still very good. Yeah, but I switched to Bang mainly because Bang has creatine in it, so then I don't have to pay extra for the creatine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really the only reason.
Nice.
Yeah, their CEO. Have you ever seen a picture of their CEO and just like how the dude's just like what, just a wacko dude. Like
Shred City, though.
just, I mean, yeah, he's definitely pretty fit, but he's just like he's an older guy and just like the term bang. Like, you just imagine this guy just yelling bang, like it just he
He's got
could.
like Steve Ballmer energy.
Yes, definitely, yeah, for sure, exactly, yeah.
That's one of my favorite videos ever when he introduces Kawhi and Paul George
Oh, I
as
don't
a
think I
as
ever
a
saw
as
that.
Clippers. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's on YouTube, so people should check it out. But it's like the first like 2-3 minutes, especially, are just like he's just so intense. Like they're sitting on the stage and it's like a front of the media, and he just gets up there and just starts screaming, and he's just like, I got these notes, but man, I'm fired up. Like I don't even need the notes, and like screaming to people, and You gotta watch it. It's hilarious.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's like, people are like clapping when he's introducing him, and he's just like, "Get up, get up!"
Oh shit, that's
And
good.
Kawhi and Paul are just like, "What is this dude
What is
talking
this
about?"
cracking
Yeah.
dude?
I mean, you can tell that they're like, "Holy shit," but they're also like kind of loving it as well. Like they're
Yeah,
just like dying laughing. But
yeah,
he's just like dead serious.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, if you're a billionaire, I promise you that's how I would act just
Oh,
at
so would
any
I.
moment. Just fired up about everything, anywhere.
Yeah. If you have the power to buy buildings, like like entire
Entire
skyscrapers,
teams,
yeah, exactly,
professional teams, and it's just
exactly.
like change for you, basically.
Yeah,
It's just a hobby.
yeah. Then I just nothing would stop me. Nothing would stop me.
No,
It'd just be
no.
remarkable.
Oh, yeah. I'd be on 100 at all hours, all waking hours of the day.
Do people like that even check their bank accounts? I mean,
I
let
guess
me
they just have
balance
a
my
guy.
checkbook
Yeah.
real quick.
They've got a guy that they just go to who handles it, and they're just like, "Can I afford this yacht that like this month?" And they're like, "Probably yes." Okay. Give me
Probably
the
is.
money to do this.
Yeah.
Basically, that's it. Like
Oh
Jeff
shit.
Bezos has a yacht that is like 300 plus feet long, and
Yeah,
it's
so
got
is
a
mine. It's a
mini,
little bigger than mine.
yeah, and it's got a mini yacht built into it for him to do like side adventures.
Oh shit. Oh god, that's so funny.
Yeah,
I got a
just
yacht
like
for
a
my yacht.
he parks his mini yacht in the big yacht for when he wants to like go to smaller little areas around
Yeah.
islands and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have gotten that feature on mine.
Yeah,
It's too bad.
just get a new one.
Yeah, you're right. Let me talk to my guy. Do I have money for a yacht? He's like, in what
Who is it?
millennia? Oh shit! You can't shuffle some things around in my investments.
Well, you've got $10 in Doge. I mean, that's gonna take off any day. That's gonna take off.
I think I got another credit card around here somewhere. Oh fuck!
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Oh.
that is a danger.
Oh yeah. 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 It is.
Well, just a danger to society at large when you mention credit cards, because it's just like, obviously people are like, average people aren't just going to be like, "Yep, I'll take the yacht, just use my credit card on that." But just like the amount of stuff that people do buy, and that banks allow people to have such a large limit on their credit card, without really being able to afford it or pay it back until it like gains interest, and you're still paying and paying, and then you pay double eventually what it was initially bought for, and
Yep.
it's just like, credit card does not equal freedom. I know it feels like it is in the
Yeah.
moment, and
Yeah.
I understand the use for emergencies and obviously stuff like that, and if you can pay it off consistently, it builds your credit. But it's a day you're I'd say majority of people play a dangerous game with credit cards
Oh,
and
definitely.
just credit in general. And I mean, I have one, and you know, luckily have been able to pay it off pretty much every month as I use it, just to build a little bit of credit. But I guess for some people, it's like, oh, it's not real in this moment, and I can buy this like above ground swimming pool
Right.
behind my trailer.
Yeah, my trailer. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, none of this stuff is taught in classes. It's not like we
No,
go to school, not even in college. Not like we
no.
go to college for
Student
like
loans weren't taught.
psychology. Nope, none of that. None of that. This is all reliant on your parents. And if your parents, okay, I'm gonna say it directly. If your parents live in a trailer park, I'm not saying that they're like maybe that's by choice. Cool.
Yeah.
But for a
Yeah,
lot of
minimalism.
people, I feel like we can say, yeah, minimalism. I feel like for a lot of people in that predicament, in that living situation, they probably don't know a whole lot about like credit cards and like how it works or stocks or, like loans and all that stuff. So, like, and if that's your only source of information on this stuff, like as you're growing up, it's just perpetuating the same problem. So you're never actually in high school learning like, hey, this, which is it's just the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing to learn like algebra, and then to not know like really basic stuff that you end up figuring out as you like start adulting. But like for some people, like you can screw up and like kind of figure it out, and it's like okay, or you talk to your parents or you talk to your friends. But for a lot of people, you don't have those kinds of influences that can offer insight on that stuff, and then
Yeah.
you end up in a huge hole, and you end up buying a pool for your trailer park
Yep.
and a jacuzzi.
Yeah. It just allows people to have instant gratification, and sometimes it's better to wait and earn something rather
Yeah,
than have it instantly. And that's the kind of world we live in, though.
yeah. Speaking of instant gratification, I'm sure you've kept up with this. E3 was just yesterday, and E3 unveiled some new information on the newest Halo game, Halo 6, Halo
Oh,
Infinite. Yeah.
any
So
clips on that?
yeah, they have a few clips. So one multiplayer is going to be free. So anybody who doesn't have the game can still play it. So that's like a huge thing. Um, the other thing is that
What do
so
you
that
mean free?
what do I mean?
If you have an Xbox One
Yeah,
and you have internet connection,
right.
you have Xbox Live,
Okay, go on.
you then have access to just basically downloading only the multiplayer version
Right. Yeah.
via Xbox Live.
Via and via. Yes.
Okay. And you're able to play this online.
Yes. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Free. That's interesting. Why
Free.
is that?
I
What's the
think I
what's the
think I think they're going the same route as Fortnite and like PUBG and all those
Oh,
like games
because
because
you'll
they're
be
all
able to
free.
buy on stuff.
I don't think anything that actually matters. It's not like you'll be able to buy
Skins,
like yeah, you can buy like skins and stuff like that, but it's not. I don't think it's
cool
ever going to be.
helmets,
Yeah, right. It's never going to be anything like the best battle rifle.
tattoos, tattoos.
Oh God. Still one of the ugliest accents on planet Earth. Oh shit. Yes.
Well, that's yeah.
Tattoos as well.
um, wow, but if you want the campaign experience, you've got to
Yeah.
buy the actual game.
Yeah, then you got to play
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, you want campaign.
Well, I'm gonna see if they bring it back from the fifth game, which was an absolute abomination. So we'll see.
You mean carry on from where
Well,
it
they are
left
gonna
off?
carry it on from there, but like the fifth campaign was just terrible. The story was terrible, so bad, and people really upset about it. So and they teased how they're kind of going with this with the campaign. So we'll see if
Hmm.
the story actually makes sense, and they're able to revive the story of Master Chief.
Is there an official release date?
Yeah, end of this year, I think. I think same as all the Halos in November of this
Okay.
year. I want to say that, but I haven't checked. I know it's this year
Yeah.
because
It's this
they
year.
yeah, they had announced that it was supposed to be last year, and then they released that demo of the gameplay and stuff, and people were
And
like,
people were
"This,
outraged.
yeah," they were like, "This is absolute trash. Fuck you!" Like people were so
Yeah.
mad,
Like,
and
well,
then
we'd rather wait than have some trash now.
yeah, they were like, "You're about to do Halo 5 again. Like you're about
Yeah.
to screw us
You
over
didn't change it.
again." Yeah, so Microsoft is like, "Okay, okay, all right, we hear you. We want to make money." So yeah, they postponed it by a year, gave the developers some more time. So
Damn.
yeah,
Is Xbox Live still 50 a month?
I think it went up to 60 a month, or no, 60. No, 60 a
A
year.
year.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
A
I'm like,
year.
good God, what
Dude,
am I
even I
talking about?
repeated it. I was like, it's
Yeah.
60 a month. I was like, wait a second. Holy fuck. Yeah, 60 a year, I
I get
think.
all the games for free. Good God.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now the plan is to get an Xbox One. Or an Xbox Series X.
Uh, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Put it on your credit card.
By that time, yeah, I can do that right now. Yeah, but that would be sweet to get back into Halo.
Yeah. Just kind of as a pastime. I mean, the multiplayer, they definitely added some pretty cool elements to it. So we'll see. We'll see how things turn out. But ultimately, yeah, that was the big announcement at E3, kind of giving more details on how the multiplayer is going to work and stuff like that.
And I imagine it'll be available on PC as well if you've got a gaming computer.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So it'll be cross-platform from PC to Xbox and vice versa.
Don't
Yeah.
you have a slight advantage if you're on a gaming PC that's like top of the line versus an Xbox, or is the new Xbox essentially a gaming PC GPU in it?
Yeah, you do have an advantage. Not necessarily because of the graphical advantage or anything like that, but because when you're using a mouse and keyboard, the latency, so the time between,
Quickness.
yeah, just like if you do something, the time that it reflects on the screen is like just a few milliseconds, maybe even just 1 millisecond, as opposed to like on an Xbox, especially with a wireless controller, it tends to be a few more milliseconds. So
Mm,
it's not like we're talking like 1 second difference or anything, but
right.
a few milliseconds, like
Like at the elite level, it
that,
matters.
yeah, it matters. Yeah, like the level that we're at. So
Yeah.
it definitely matters. So I'll be cussing a lot if I,
Hmm.
if I'm
Hmm.
using my wireless
And I'll be
control.
reporting you a lot
Okay, great, thank you.
and booting you from
And booting you,
from the game.
but not before I don't insult your mom.
Yes. If you accidentally kill me as your own teammate, you will be booted,
Yeah, yeah.
even if it's to the detriment of our team.
Uh, did you by any chance watch the JRE podcast with where he had this philosopher on who wrote a book on the history of alcohol?
Oh, I saw like briefly that one, and then I started the one that you asked me about.
Carol Hoover, yeah, or
Yeah,
Hooven. Yeah,
yeah.
that one was really good. I was a little disappointed though because I felt like she what they didn't get into the testosterone aspect quite as much as I'd wanted. Like they started talking about sensitivity and like kindness and like
Mm,
emotions and stuff like that, which is fine. Like that was really interesting. I loved it all. It's just like I wish they'd had like another hour. Hard to imagine considering it was 3 hours
hmm.
long. It just didn't feel like that. So I wish they'd had like one more hour where they could have packed in a little bit more on the testosterone front.
I bet she's probably been on other podcasts by now, or will be going on more medical, like where they would
That's
ask those intense questions. It wouldn't
that's
hurt to
yeah.
look for her.
Yeah, that's
Great
actually
name.
a really good suggestion. I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah, I probably will look her up. Yeah, it was really interesting. And how far did you get into that one?
I'm like 30 minutes. I just started it today before
Okay.
this, and I'm about
Okay.
35 minutes in, so
Yeah.
still got a ton to go.
Yeah. They
But
both.
it is interesting pretty much straight away.
Yeah, it is. Both end up crying a lot in that podcast. Yeah, it takes a twist for sure. That's why it's really interesting. Um,
What?
yeah. Yep.
Because I know that like at the beginning, you know, she was, we'll get into how like testosterone can make you, or how it impacts you being emotional as a guy, like
Yeah.
crying, and he's like, I cry all the time. And she's like, so do I. And then they kept talking, but I didn't know that they actually cried in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. They
pretty
do.
intense.
Yeah. Not. Yeah. Just discussing different things like personal matters and just kind of emotions and like how humans should behave, like stuff like that. Apparently, yeah, they got really passionate about like each one of their different things that make them really interested in what they're interested in, like
Huh.
Joe with comedy and then martial arts and stuff, and with her research and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was great. It was definitely great. I just like I said, I wish that they'd gone into testosterone aspect more, but of course she offers a lot of information related to how testosterone affects men. And I really
Hmm.
appreciated her point of view, because later on in the podcast, she ends up saying, this is just a small snippet, but she ends up saying, like, for the longest time, she tried to change her husband because her husband was not a very emotional person. He, like, never cried. And she thought that was, like, him holding in his emotions or whatever. And then as she was learning more about testosterone and stuff, she found, and she like interviewed trans people and like all these different things, she ended up kind of discovering like, hey, just because he doesn't cry doesn't mean that he's like got this pent up
Something's
emotion. And
wrong.
yeah, exactly. He's just different. He just, like, some
Yeah.
men just don't display emotion that way very very
Yeah.
often. And so she said, like, I appreciated the way she put it. She was like, so I just kind of learned to shut the fuck up. And that was, I thought that was fantastic, because there have been many moments, ladies,
In your
um,
life and mine.
yeah, where women have just been like, oh well, why don't you behave this way or that way? And it's just like, I don't know how much more clearly I can put this. There's no emotion that's like being buried inside me. I don't
Hmm.
have it. I don't have anything to express. I don't have to
Yeah.
cry
This
about this
doesn't this doesn't
situation.
impact me the same way it impacts you, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but in society, you're kind of taught that if you don't show emotions over like stereotypically emotional things, then like, oh, you're a psychopath, or like there's something wrong with you, or like
Toxic masculinity.
yeah. And so there's been times in my life where I'm like, am I a psychopath? Like, but I mean, I'm not like stone cold. Like of course I've cried and been emotional at
Sure.
times, but uh, yeah, there have been moments in my life where I'm just like, why is that not moving the needle in an emotional way? And it is
Yep.
for this person or that person about this certain issue. And yeah, it's just everybody's wired a little bit differently. And it's interesting to see how testosterone plays an impact in that, because you just associate that with being like, I don't know, more like rambunctious as a male, more physical and more just like people associate it with anger more than any other emotion, I think. And I did get into the part where they're talking about like, obviously on the whole, males are a far more sexually promiscuous. They want to have sex more often with multiple partners, and that has a lot to do with testosterone,
Hmm.
straight
Yeah.
away from in the womb. And it was an evolutionary trait that you can visibly witness in a lot of other species. And that's, just breaking it down very clearly like that is like yeah, you just feel a little bit more like not crazy in some aspects of it, because there's a really good Louis C.K. bit where he's like, I'm just worn down by the constant perverted thoughts, like every single day, just
Uh,
nonstop. He's like, ladies, you have no idea.
yeah.
Like, you just have no idea the mental torture that is happening on a daily basis. It's so good. It's so good, but it's like it's basically that's what they're saying, but obviously he over exaggerates
Yeah,
it
yeah,
and
yeah, right.
makes it into a funny way, but it's still people can relate.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Can
And it's
definitely
cool that
relate.
she was like, like I don't get it. What's the problem? But then like looked way deeper into it and gave her a much better understanding of men, you know. And she's still like I still am super fascinated. Like I'll never really know, but talking to all these people that are men and that are using testosterone as you know women initially and then transitioning how their mentality changed like the moment they started injecting testosterone they started seeing women as objects
Right,
and they're
yeah.
like they're like I don't understand like I catch myself like seeing women and not that I do or not that you do but it's just like it is a powerful uh, what would you call it? Not a gene, but a
Hormone?
hormone. Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, I have no problem saying that I objectify women. Like, definitely. I think when it's clearly, like, I'm talking strictly in the sexual sense. Like,
hmm
it's like this romantic idea of like, oh, she's so kind, and we just have great conversation. I just feel a connection.
hmm
Like that's bullshit. Like I'm not saying that that can't
that
happen. I'm
can't
not at
happen.
all
Yeah,
saying that, especially if you have like a really intimate connection with a partner. Absolutely. But like the first thought that men have is like, damn, like look at her ass, like look at her hips, like look
yeah.
at,
Look at
those
her
are the
hands.
things. They're so rugged. Yeah, I mean, it's an objectification. I don't know anything about this person's personality. I know nothing. I all I see is
Yeah.
just like she's hot. That's it.
hmm
Um,
hmm
and and then you get to know the person. I mean, so this idea that like you shouldn't objectify women or you shouldn't objectify men, like that's just part of the process. Like there's no there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can be like, no, stop it.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, yeah. You're a
there's
problem.
yeah
You're
there's
problematic.
there's not a block. There's no way. It's subconscious. It's like it just happens, and when it happens, I can recognize it. But like it's ultimately always going to happen, and I don't think
hmm
it's something that we
hmm
need to shy away from. I think it's problematic if you end up treating a person as an object. Of course, like you go up to them and then you just do whatever you want, like, or
Yeah.
you say whatever you want, like you don't see them as a person. Like that's
Right.
obviously problematic. But like from a distance, those initial thoughts are absolutely objectification. That's just the way it is.
hmm
And I, I don't know.
And
I
that's
think
science.
that's science. There, mic drop. We cite no studies.
That's science.
Yeah. But I think there are, like, I understand, like, during that discussion, too, she was talking about, like, how boys are a lot more, using your word, more rambunctious and whatnot, like, are, more aggressive and, like, want to wrestle and stuff like that, and girls don't. And I understand that some of that is socialization. But even so, I do think that there's a huge biological component to that. And again, it's not like
Yeah.
everybody just wants to shift everything to socialization. Like, oh, we can teach boys to be different, and it's in many respects you can. Like, as you can have these feelings and these like impulses, and then choose to compartmentalize them or to learn how to deal with them and whatnot. But like to ignore them, to pretend like we shouldn't have them is this like bastardized version of like like, oh, you having these feelings, you having these impulses is necessarily negative. Oh, as a matter of fact, and this is a really touchy subject, but she ends up like going into like rape and like talks about like rape and its relationship to testosterone and all these different things. So they have really in-depth conversation about all kinds of different things. And of course, in the podcast, they're not saying like, oh, rape is good or rape is like in any way excusable by any means. But she's just talking about
a side effect.
she was just talking about like how in the animal kingdom there's like rape that occurs as well, and it's always the males raping the women. And I don't know, humans have gotten so complex. Like technically, a woman can rape a man, but like when we think about rape, we usually think about a man raping a woman, unfortunately. So, which is definitely what happens far more often than the opposite. So, it's just like ultimately the bottom line is I just thought that the whole conversation was really, really interesting. Just her talking about this particular hormone. Of late, I've been so fascinated by how testosterone affects us, and it's so pervasive. I just don't like this ignoring. I'll give you a great example of like things that people largely disagree with me on. I'm sure is that Gillette commercial. You remember that Gillette commercial that every like boys will be boys, and it's just like whatever. And like with some of it, like I agree with it, but like on another, there's one part where two dudes are in like New York City on the street, and this very attractive woman like walks by, and the one dude just is like, oh, like she's like really attractive, so he starts like moving towards her to like talk to her, to hit on her. And his guy friend like puts his hand on her, and I don't remember if this is actually the Gillette commercial, but it was something else that made its rounds. So the other friend puts his hand on the guy's chest, is like, no, dude, don't do that. And I'm just thinking like,
Don't
why
try to mate with this woman?
Yeah, why? Like she could say no, and then that's the point where the guy needs to be like, okay, okay, I will back off. Have a good day, blah blah blah.
Okay,
but like hitting on a girl is now like this toxic masculinity thing. No, no, not at all.
What is supposed to happen? Like,
exactly.
He's just supposed to like look at her and then see that she's there and never look at her again and be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I looked in her direction.
It's so ridiculous.
Don't think anything ridiculous in your head.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
Sexualize her.
He's
Don't
being
dare think of approaching her. You'd probably rape her.
Oh yeah, if you talk to her, like that's essentially the equivalency. That's what it feels like. It's just ridiculous. So, like that kind of stuff. Like we're starting to turn this thing of like all of men's behavior is socialized, and all of we just need to ignore the biology of this entire situation.
Right. Ignore what literally got people to this point.
Right.
Physically here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyways, I'm interested in definitely going to listen to the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I played golf Sunday yesterday with Nick and Shane and Lee. And the reason why I bring this up is because every time we hit a bad shot off the tee, or it's just like super short, we just say we have low tee, and it's great.
That's good.
Or I say that to somebody who can't hit it far. I'm like, just got low tee, man. And I definitely had low tee yesterday, but it was still fun. And Lee, I haven't seen him in maybe 2+ years, and he told me that he likes to listen to the podcast. So shout out to Lee.
Hello, Lee.
He was like, I just want to come on and just like be there and just listen while you guys are recording. He had a baby recently. Well, maybe a year ago now, coming up on a year. And he's like, He's like, my greatest joy in life now is just like going on a walk with the dog by myself and just listening to the podcast.
Oh shit, that's so funny. Oh
Yep.
fuck. Yeah. Yeah. That's I've thought about like the differences obviously in like married life and then like having a kid and all these, like you have all these responsibilities, but you also it's an aspect of life that's also really wonderful, I'm sure. But it's remarkable, like the difference in being like single, or what I mean by single is not in a or not married, um, and like not having kids and stuff like that. Like that's a completely different experience to like actually having kids, for example. Like even being in a relationship, like even I felt like, oh shit, I need to just go for a walk and just like escape from the situation, because oh, it
Yeah.
just the responsibility sometimes just gets to you, and you just want to scream. You just want to get away. So I can't imagine what it's like to have a kid, which like obviously
Right.
you end up loving your kid immensely,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's, of course, kidding, I think, but, he's obviously, no, obviously it's, obviously they plan to have a kid, and I think they want to have another, like
right,
one more kid
right,
eventually.
yeah,
But yeah, they're doing fine, and it's just like, you just can never having having a kid. It's like you just can never be prepared, even how many people tell you certain things, and
I'm sure.
it's going to be like this, and you need to do that, and you can buy all these books and do all these things, but at the end of the day, your experience is going to be unique to anyone else's experience in a lot of ways too, and how you handle it is different than how other people would handle it. And yeah, I think he's definitely learned a lot about himself, and ultimately it's a good thing. But yeah, it's, I think, like from 0 to like, I
Hmm.
don't know how old, maybe 3, it's just like chaos all the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And when do you get a respite from that?
yeah, just got to always be on, which is tough, but got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know when that's gonna happen in my life. That's an existential question that I've pondered a multitude of
Yeah.
times over the last like year or two.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I just think that, you just gotta,
Fuck
yeah.
a lot of women.
See what sticks. But
Damn you, testosterone.
yeah, I mean, it's ultimately, if it feels right, with the right person, I guess you'll know when if you
Yeah,
want to have a kid
I
or
hope.
not. Yeah,
I hope
I
that's the
mean,
experience, because I'm so
yeah,
naive. I don't know. Like
I don't either. I don't
oh,
either. I mean,
I thought you dude.
no,
I'm like looking to you
I
for the
feel,
advice.
I think I've sure this has happened, that people have kids just to like discover meaning in their life or make their life more
Hmm.
meaningful. That the hope of having a kid, this will provide me happiness, this will provide me meaning, this will save our marriage, this
Yeah,
will,
yeah, yeah. Sure.
all these things. But I just, obviously all those things are factors in, but I just don't know, like, that they're necessarily like, the reasons that you would really want to have a kid, you know.
Pass on genetic material to a living being.
Yeah. You are now responsible for at least,
Yeah,
I don't know, 18 years. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm. Like I said, something I've thought about quite a lot, and something I still need to think about quite a lot. Oh, I'll probably save this for the next podcast, but I recently finished a book called The Science of Happily Ever After: What Really Matters in the Quest for Enduring Love.
Hmm.
So
You've already read it?
I already went through it,
Okay.
and it's good. It was good. First half was better than the second half, I thought, but it was good. It was by a psychologist, and he cites a ton of studies, and then just kind of explains some of the similarities between the studies and why relationships fall apart and stuff like that. It was good. It was really interesting. I definitely enjoyed it. And I'll ask this to the podcast listeners. What do you think are the 3 traits that you have to have? To build, like you have a blank slate and you're building a relationship. What are the 3 traits that have to exist? Like a sense of humor or empathy or, like those kinds of things. And you can only pick 3 to build your entire relationship. Like your relationship is